of year, the season of return, the season of Shabbat. This week actually ends a special kind of half Torah reading. We generally don't read the half Torah portions, but actually there's 10 of these half Torah readings that are special readings this time of the year, and it starts out that on Tisha B'Av there's 3 readings of destruction. It starts with 3 weeks of mourning, and these three half Torah portions that start on the 17th Tammuz that leads up to Tisha B'Av are 3 portions that foretell the destruction. These are half Torah portions that are read that foretell the destruction of the people and the doom that's coming on. And then there's 7 half Torah portions that come forward, and they're called the 7 of consolation. They're the 7 portions of return, if you will. And there are 7 half Torah portions that lead up from Tisha B'Av to trumpets. And these 7 portions tell the tale of return. Every one of them is about bringing the people back, restoring the people to the land, restoring the people back with Yahweh. It's a period of time all about restoration and restoring and Yahweh turning back to His people and loving His people. And the reading today kind of leads in a little bit to that. And it's interesting that there's more three-piece troubles here. The number 1 page of my study isn't there. So we'll do without page number 1. The portion is Deuteronomy 29, and it starts in Deuteronomy 10. Let's go back and start at this 29:1 and come down to this, because this whole passage is about the covenant and making the covenant and coming into covenant with Yahweh. And today with the mikvah and all the things that's going on, I really think that this is pertinent to us today. These are the words of the covenant which Yahweh commanded Moses to make with the children of Israel in the land of Moab, besides the covenant which He made them at Horeb. Now, we have a doubling here. Actually, it was a recommitment, if you will, in my opinion. I don't believe this was a brand new covenant thing here. This is like what a lot of us today that's already been baptized are going to kind of make a recommitment. In other words, this happened multiple times where He's saying, Moses told the children of Israel many times that today you're going to enter into covenant, or today keep Yahweh's covenant, or today partake of the covenant. And it wasn't the first time that they stood before the mountain, or the time when in Genesis 24 when He sprinkled blood on them, or here in Deuteronomy is another time when He's telling them, y'all are entering into covenant. He kept reiterating that. And it reads like it's a new covenant, but I really don't believe that. I believe that there was one covenant that runs down through history all the way, and that covenant is basically, I'm going to do anything that He tells me to do. Whatever comes forth out of the mouth of Yahweh, we shall do, and that is our covenant that we make. Whatever He says, we will do. That's what they agreed to at the mountain, that we will live by every word that comes forth out of the mouth of Yahweh. And Moses called all Israel and said to all Israel, said unto them, you have seen all that Yahweh did before your eyes in the land of Egypt, unto Pharaoh and to all his servants, unto all his land, this great temptation which thy eyes have seen, the signs and those great miracles. Yet Yahweh hath not given you a heart to perceive, and eyes to see, and ears to hear unto this day. Now, he's saying that actually he had blinded them. They really didn't have the eyes to see, the heart, the eyes to hear, or whatever. I believe that's a heart thing. But basically, if you have the heart, your eyes will open. I have led you 40 years in the wilderness. Your clothes are not waxing old upon you. Your shoes did not wax old upon thy feet. I think that's one of the greatest miracles right there. That, can you imagine? Not only did their things not wax old, but the miracle of a little child, their shoes would have, their clothes would have to grow with the children. Think about that. If I was a little bitty boy and if I was 1 year old, and by the time I was 20, my things would have stretched with me. My shoes would have grown with me. Perfectly. What a miracle. You have not eaten bread, neither have you drunk wine, or strong drink, that you might know that I am Yahweh your Elohim. And when you came up into this place, Sihon, king of Heshbon, and Og, king of Bashan, come out against us unto battle, and we smote them. And we took their land. We gave it for an inheritance unto the Reubenites, unto the Gadites, and the half tribe of Manasseh. Therefore, the words of this covenant, keep therefore the words of this covenant, and do them, that you may prosper in all that you do. And here's where our Torah portion actually starts. It says, ye stand, or it says, to stand. Just to stand before Yahweh. You know, most people are not going to stand before Him. There's going to be a very select group that's going to actually stand before Him. Most people are going to have their nose in the dirt. I don't know if y'all realize that. They are going to be not able to stand before Him. It will be a great honor to be able to stand before Yahweh. When you look at those that stood before Yahweh, you get into a very who's list in Scripture. Abraham, Noah. There was very few that says actually walked or stood before Yahweh. Most people, when they seen an angel, knows that. They didn't even stand before him. Something to think about.
Would you repeat that? I didn't hear you. What did you say?
I'm saying most people didn't even stand before angels. You know, it says you're going to stand before Yahweh. You stand this day, all of you, before Yahweh. We're talking about this select group that gets to stand before Yahweh.
But if you stand before an angel, did you say something?
I'm saying when most people confronted angels in the Scriptures, they didn't even stand before angels.
Okay.
They put their nose to the dirt. Prostrate.
Okay.
They fell to the ground. That very few people will stand before Yahweh. Very few. Most people will be nose to the dirt. Here's the point of that. It says, you stand this day, all of you, before Yahweh your Elohim, the captains, your tribes, your elders, your officers with you, all the men of Israel, your little ones, your wives, the stranger that is in with their cow, from the hewer of the wood unto the drawer of the water, that you should enter into covenant with Yahweh your Elohim, and unto His oath, which Yahweh your Elohim maketh with you today. Excuse me. Now, what does it mean to enter into covenant? I should have put this in my mouth before I'm up here. To enter into covenant is to actually walk between the parts, isn't it?
Yes,
To go between the parts,
yes.
to cross, if you will. Y'all know what the word Hebrew means? To the one who's crossed over. When we enter into covenant, that we cross over from between the parts, or we crossing from one side to the other? What transition happens from one side to the other? We cross over from not being in covenant to being in covenant. When we cross those parts, have we literally crossed over into a new realm? Into his oath, when he's crossed over, we enter. And we enter into his oath. But you know Yahweh, let's go to Malachi 2:6. Go to 3:6.
Sorry.
We enter into his oath. And Yahweh swore an oath, if you will, to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob that he was going to deliver them, right? And he says that if he says something, you can take it to the bank. He says, I am Abraham, I'm Yahweh, walk before me and be ye perfect. And I'm going to deliver these things to your descendants. And he said, I am Yahweh, I change not, therefore you sons of Jacob are not consumed. Because he made that promise. So if Yahweh says it, he's not going to change his mind. He's not going to change his direction. He's not going to change his law or the things that he has delivered to us. Because that's just not Yahweh. Go to Hebrews 13:8.
Al,
Yes, Jan?
to go on down a couple of verses, it says, return to me and I will return to you. Does that mean he removes himself from you if you are not in covenant with him, doing what he commanded you to do to be in covenant with him?
I go there, yeah. I'd say that,
I was being Dawn.
yeah, we need to,
He's gone.
we need to fill in, yeah. No, that's good, that's good. I think it's all about return. You can't return from somewhere where you haven't already been. We have to be in the covenant with him to return to covenant. One of the main points of that I want to get across today in this whole thing is that Yahweh is calling a people. And he wants them in covenant with him. He wants us in covenant with him. And once we become in covenant with him, we're bound to stay into that covenant. And the world doesn't want to be in covenant with him. They want to throw away the law. They want to throw away his words. They want to say that he changes. They change everything. Basically, they say that Yeshua came in the flesh to do away with everything. And they have sold that bill of goods to the world. As amazing as it is, once your eyes are open and you see it, if you're totally amazed at what a job they have done selling the world on the fact that all the laws are right. Which that's preposterous. That makes Yahweh change. It actually makes Yahweh a liar. That the promise that he made to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob and his descendants, everything's on that. He took that away and gave it to the Christians. Right? They don't realize that what they're saying is so preposterous that and the scriptures backs up in so many ways that that's just not so. That those in covenant with him, even though we don't stay perfect in that covenant and we may slip away, he wants to draw us or move us back to covenant with him to take us. Anyway, Hebrews 13:8. Yeshua the Messiah, the same yesterday, today, and forever. Now, the pre-incarnate Yeshua may be questionable about who and what, but I think everybody will agree that he pre-existed in the Old Covenant. And that in the Old Covenant, he kept his Father's law. That he kept not only all the dietary laws, but all of the laws. And we are to emulate the Messiah, aren't we? To follow him?
Yes.
How come we say, no, we don't need to do anything he did because he died, so we don't have to do any of that. That's what they say. He come to do it all the way, hung it on the cross. What about us? Let's look at James 1:17. What about us? Every good gift and every perfect gift is from above and cometh down to the Father of lights, with whom is no variableness, neither a shadow of turning. He didn't turn, did he? He didn't change. He's still solid as a rock. If it come forth out of Yahweh's mouth, past, present, or future, you can take it to the mind. That is the way it is. What about us? Let's look at Psalms 15:4. Does he want us to be flip-floppy? In whose eyes a vile person is contempted, but he honoreth him that fear Yahweh. He that sweareth to his own hurt and changes not. If you say something, do you keep it to your own hurt? Or is that talking about Yahweh that sweareth to his own hurt? In other words, if he said it, he'll keep it even though it's not good for him to keep it. I think we can look at that either way. Either way. Let's go back to 29. Deuteronomy 29. Next breath. Well.
In other words, keep your word even if it hurts you. In other words, keep your word even if it hurts you.
Absolutely. If you make a deal's a deal. Whatever comes forth out of your mouth, you need to keep. And I think that the supremacy is Yahweh, whatever comes forth out of his mouth, he's going to do it. And that's where so many in this world, and so many in the world's religions, say that's not so. They want to change what he said, or say he didn't mean what he said, or he threw that away. Whatever part they don't like. We kind of have a buffet style religion, if you will. We're going down the buffet of religions, and we take double helping of that grace, but that law portion, I don't want none of that. I don't like that law portion. I want to fill it up with grace. should enter into covenant with Yahweh thy Elohim unto his oath, which Yahweh thy Elohim maketh with you this day, that he may establish you today for a people unto himself. Are we going to be Elohim's people? When you're baptized, in the New Testament, it says, as many as he called, and many as take the baptism, you're given the opportunity to be sons. But not Elohim. Children of Elohim. You're actually entering into a covenant that's beyond the covenant. You're actually entering into a family. You're becoming part of his household to belong to Yahweh. I think that's huge. I think that's really huge. And he may establish thee for a people unto himself, that he may be unto thee an Elohim, and he has said unto thee. And he has sworn unto their fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. There's where he swore to the fathers, he's not going to change that. Again, the promise made to the fathers will go forth unto in perpetuity. It's never going to change. He didn't throw them away. Neither with you only do I make this covenant and this oath, but with him that standeth here with us this day before Yahweh Elohim, and also him that is not here with us this day. That is interesting, that he's making this covenant with those that are there and those that are not there. Does that include us maybe in those that are not there?
Yes.
Rick?
Al, in Acts 2:39, it says after it's baptized in his name, it says, the promise is to you and to your children, to all that are far off, as many as your master Yahushua will call.
Yeah. Absolutely.
That covenant runs from all times. It don't matter what man does. The opportunity to enter it is always there. Through all generations. That covenant runs all the time.
To walk with Elohim. To walk with Elohim. Once we enter the covenant with Yahweh, we're to cleave to Yahweh. Deuteronomy 32. We're to cleave to Yahweh. Yeah, 1 Peter 1:14 says, be ye holy, for I am holy. And that's also in the Old Testament, isn't it? You want to look at it in the New Testament? Look at 1 Peter 1:14. What does it mean to be holy? To be set apart. How do you get there? How do we get set apart? Having a covenant with Yahweh?
Yes.
That set us apart? Does it make us new plateaus? As obedient children, not fashioning yourselves according to the former lust of your ignorance, but as he which called you is holy, so you be holy in all manner of conduct. Because it is written, be ye holy, for I am holy. Be set apart. We are to be set apart to him, or to cleave to him, or to come to him. 1 Corinthians 10:31. Do all things to Yahweh's glory. Is everything we do in the movement we make to the glory of Yahweh? Showing his praise, his glory? I would hope so. Do we keep his purpose in view of our lives? Do we make certain that he's the center of all things? You know, we're all going to stand before the judgment seat. We're all going to give account of ourselves. Which trumpets represents here. Let's go to James 1:22. I'm sorry. 22, be ye doers of the word and not hearers only, deceiving your own selves. For if any be a hearer of the word and not a doer, he is like a man beholding his natural face in the glass. For he beholdeth himself and goes his way, and straightway forgetteth what manner of man he is. Doers of the word. Do we have to be a doer of the word, not just a hearer?
Yes.
Romans 2:13.
Romans 2:17.
2:13.
2:30, yeah. There's a bunch of scriptures there. Well, we can go to Romans 2:13. Go there. For not the hearers of the law are just before Elohim, but the doers of the law shall be justified. I thought the law was done away with. Let's go to Revelation 22:14. Blessed are they that do his commandments, that they may have a right to the tree of life and may enter in through the gate into the city. We have to keep the law and the commandments, don't we? I feel like I'm boring y'all with all of what y'all already know. But,
Not boring.
when we enter into covenant, it's just so important that we stand, that really standing, like standing before the court. Not only means to stand, but it means your position before the court. Standing before Yahweh is your position before Him, not just to physically stand. If you all get it. To stand before Yahweh has a bigger meaning than just to stand. Just like give your life is more than just the second you cease to exist. Your life consists of the entirety of your life, from birth to death. If you give your life, it means you're giving it in its entirety. Like a wife gives her life to her husband, or a husband gives his life to his wife, or the parents to the child. It's the entirety of the life, not just the second you cease to exist. If you haven't already given your life to Yahweh, I believe when the time comes, you will not cease to exist for Him. You will choose to continue to live for yourself instead of living for Him. So if you haven't given your life, which this is not an altar call, this is telling you to give your life in its entirety to Yahweh. Not just that second you kneel down before the altar and have a little twinkling feeling and warm fuzzy and then go back to do whatever you did.
In verse 14 there, I've got a question about who's speaking there. Who's talking?
Who's talking?
Yeah, whose dialogue is that right there?
I believe that's Yahweh talking Revelation through John. Is it not?
That's why I'm asking. I'm not sure. I mean, because what if you have a Bible that has red letters, you look at it. I mean, the two verses before. I know, the two verses before and the verse right after, it's red letters. And then this part.
I understand the whole letter of Revelation. It is the revelation that John received, the Apostle John. So the whole of the book, in my opinion, should be red letter. If you're catching what I'm saying. That this is a revelation penned by the Apostle. So, Jerry?
This looks like, because in 13, this is following up 13, which says, I am the olive top.
Yeah.
And it looks like Yeshua talking here.
There's no question about it, in my opinion.
Well, you said apostle, but you mean Yeshua. Because doesn't the very first verse say that Yeshua, this is the revelation of Yeshua?
Well, he penned it. John penned it, but it was a revelation given him. If Yahweh gives you a revelation, just like he told the prophets, it says the scriptures were penned by men of old as the Spirit moved them. So if this, John penned it through the Spirit, through the revelation of Yahweh. So I would say that that's his word.
Exactly. So I'm just saying I agree with you that it should probably be all read.
Without question, it's the word of Yahweh. Anybody? Not me.
There may be an occasion where John said something in response to what Yahweh said.
Well, then it would be commentary on the revelations.
Exactly.
Revelation.
Also, it's Yeshua, they're telling, blessed are they that do his commandments. The capital H, you know, here. It's the Son saying, honor the Father. It's not John saying, blessed are they that do Yeshua's commandments. It's Yeshua saying, blessed are they that
Do his
Father.
Amen.
And I agree with that. But if you go back to the Revelation 22:1, it says, and he showed me a river of water of life. John is saying that.
Well, that was the revelation that he received. He was giving what he saw.
Yes. And he showed, yeah.
What if verse 16 else done? I mean, verse 16 says, I, Yeshua, have sent my angel to testify.
And he's quoting there. But in this Bible, it shows it in quotes.
Absolutely. Doers of the law and not hearers of the law, or the commandments. And this, I believe, is made to all of us, to, like you say, not just those there, but those that are not there, throughout the history of time, coming down to us to this day. Would be my opinion. Let's go back to 29:15. Neither with only you do I make this oath, or this covenant, but with him standing here with us this day, before Yahweh or Elohim, also him that is not here with us this day. For you know, we have dwelt in the land of Egypt, and how we come through the nations which you have passed, and you have seen the abominations in their idols, wood, stone, silver, gold, which were among them. Lest there should be among you a man or woman or a family or a tribe whose hearts turn away this day from Yahweh or Elohim to go and serve the Elohim of these nations. Lest there should be among you a root that beareth gall and wormwood. When it comes to pass, when he heareth the words of this curse, that he shall bless himself in his heart, saying, I shall have peace, even though I walk in the imagination of my own heart, and add drunkenness to thirst. Do we deceive ourselves when we turn from Yahweh and in the imagination of our own heart we create a deity that's going to let me do whatever I want to do? That's what we do, don't we? That's pretty much what the world is on.
Well, that's the Christians.
They have created a Jesus that has no resemblance to what Yeshua is. They have created a deity in the imagination of their own heart that is fictitious and not real. As though they have changed drunkenness for thirst. covenants made 3,500 years ago apply to us today? Well, yeah,
Because God's not a man that he should lie.
there you go.
God's not a man that he should lie. Neither the son of man that he should repent.
And he changes not. Go ahead, Rick.
Well, in Acts 4, in Acts 3:25, it says, "Ye are the children of the prophets, and the covenant which Elohim made with the fathers, saying in Abraham, and in thy seed shall all thy kindreds of the earth be blessed."
Can our forefathers bind us in a covenant that we didn't agree to?
To the third and fourth generation.
Well,
Yep.
you know, one of the examples I like is the example of the Gibeonites. And that is an interesting one. I think we looked at that before, but we'll look at it again here. Let's go to Joshua 9:3. We know the Gibeonites, when they come into the land, how they deceived the people with their old bread, you know, and their old looking, and told them that they were people from far off, that we're not actually people here that come close and want to make a covenant with you guys, right? And they said, when the inhabitants of Gibeon heard what Joshua had done unto Jericho and to Ai, they did work willy and went and made as if it had been an ambassador, and took old sacks upon their donkeys and wine bottles, old and rent, bound up, and old shoes and clothes upon their feet, and old garments upon them. And all the bread of their provisions was dry and moldy. They went to Joshua unto the camp at Gilgal, and said unto him, to the men of Israel, we come from a far country. Now therefore make you a league with us, and make a covenant with us. And the men of Israel said to the Hivites, peradventure ye dwell among us, and how shall we make a league with you? And they said to Joshua, we are thy servants. And Joshua said unto them, we are, from whence you come. And he said unto them, from a very far country, and the servants are come because of the name of Yahweh, the Elohim, for we have heard the fame of him, and all that he did in Egypt, and all that he did to the two kings of the Amorites who were before the Jordan, the Sihon, king of Heshbon, Og, king of Bashan, which was at Ashtaroth, wherefore the elders and all the inhabitants of the country spoken to us, saying, take victuals with you for the journey. One meet with them, saying to them, we are your servants, therefore now make a league with us. Our bread we took out of our provisions with old or houses on the day we came forth unto you, but now behold, it is dry and moldy. These bottles of wine which we fill were new, behold, they be rent. These garments on our shoes became old by reason of the very long journey. And the men took their victuals, and asked not counsel of the mouth of Yahweh. And Joshua made peace with them, and made a league with them, to let them live. And the princes of the congregation swore unto them. They made a covenant with them, and they were deceived because they would come from, you know, actually the next town over. Even though this covenant was made in deception, did Yahweh uphold this covenant? I want to read you a passage here. We're going to go down to 2 Samuel 21, to the time of David. 2 Samuel 41, with 1. Now this is all the way down to the time of David, from the time of Joshua. We're talking about 450 years, or 480 years, somewhere in that category. Yeah. I'm not sure, but somewhere in that category. Then there was famine in the days of David 3 years, year after year. And David inquired of Yahweh, and Yahweh answered, it is for Saul and his bloody house, because he slew the Gibeonites. Why would that be wrong that he slew the Gibeonites? Because they made a covenant with them 450 years previously. And Yahweh, even though it was made in deception, what come out of their mouth, Yahweh upheld them all the way down to David's day, and plagued Israel for David going to come to Gibeonites. Did you know Joshua's long day, right after that happened, in the book of Joshua, was actually them defending the Gibeonites? because the rest of the land come up against the Gibeonites because they had made a league with Israel. And Joshua's long day was when the Israelites come and defended them because they had made that league with them. A miracle happened. What do you say comes out of your mouth? Do we swear to our own hurt? And do we uphold it? And does Yahweh back us up? Where did we stop there? We're down in, was we in 29:20?
Yep.
Yeah, drunkenness is first. We're going 30. Okay. If we walk in a course and turn away from London and the words of this curse. What is the curse? I mean, we'll read it a little bit more. Yahweh will not spare him, but in the anger of Yahweh and his jealousy shall smoke against that man. And all the curses that are written in this book shall lie upon him, and Yahweh shall blot out his name from under the heaven. When does all the curses of this book fall upon you? Or what is the curses? Isn't that the curses that fall under the law? Go to Galatians 3:10. For as many as are out of apart from the works of the law are under the curse of the law. Does it sound like I've done away with it? If we're out from under the law, are we under the curses of the law? For it is written, curses everyone that continues not in all things which are written in the book of the law to do them. How can they say it's done away with when Yahweh says these are the blessings and curses that's going to fall upon you when you transgress this law? That seems to me like the New Testament backs that up perfectly.
Yes, it does.
That we're going to fall into that situation. But that no man is, let's go on down and read. But that no man is justified by the law on the side of Elohim, it is evidence, for the just shall live by faith. And the law is not of faith, but the man that doeth them shall live by them. You know what? You enter into covenant through faith. Faith and law are entering into the covenant and keeping the law are two different things. The world wants to tie that together, that where you enter into the covenant through faith does away with the law. But no. I have faith in Yahweh, and what do I have faith in? What Yahweh said. If I'm entering into the covenant of Yahweh through faith, I'm having faith that Yahweh's going to do what He said, His words that He's going to put forth. So I'm coming in having faith in His words that He's going to do what He said when I come into covenant to do them so the curses don't fall upon me. Y'all see this flip-flop that's happening? The difference between coming into the covenant?
Like, it's perfect, that verse is perfect, because the just shall live by faith.
Yeah.
Everybody likes to quote that, the just shall live by faith, the just shall live by faith. And anyone throughout the Old Testament say, you know, you know who said that first? Habakkuk said it first. In the Old Testament, chapter
going back into how did Abraham come into by faith, didn't he? Faith wasn't the keeping of the law. Faith had nothing to do with the law. Faith brought him into covenant. Just like it brings us into covenant. We still come into covenant the same way Abraham did, through faith. That Yahweh is going to do what he said he would do. That's what faith is. Yeah, go ahead, Jimmy.
Galatians 3:13, the Messiah hath redeemed us from the curse of the law.
Yes.
The curse was the punishment that he saved us from. Not
Yeah.
the law itself, not doing away with the law. It was the punishment we were going to suffer that he suffered for us.
Yes.
When we don't go back out because we didn't have to pay the fine, it's feed again.
Exactly.
You know, it doesn't even make sense that the law would be gone after he paid the price.
Exactly. And what is the curse of the law? Our transgression, he saved us from the curse of the law. Let's read on right here. The Messiah has redeemed us from the curse of the law, being made a curse for us, where it is written, cursed is everyone that hangs on a tree. That the blessings of Abraham might come upon the Gentiles through Yeshua the Messiah, that we may receive the promise of the Spirit through faith. We receive the Spirit and the promise, we come into it through faith. How did they flip-flop that on them? Why can't they see that? Why can't they see that? Brother, I speak after the manner of men, though it be a man's covenant. Yet if it be confirmed, no man gets a law with it or adds to it. You can't do away with it, and you cannot add to it. It is complete. We enter into that covenant, and it's already set. You don't change it. Hallelujah. Because it comes forth out of the mouth of Yahweh, and you can guarantee you it's going to happen. Because he said it. Go ahead.
I just made me think of something. You know what your boundaries are. You know exactly what you have to do, and how comforting that is. Like a little kid, you know, when you give them boundaries and you give them yes and no's, black and whites, they're comforted because they know when they pass that boundary, they're in trouble. And look at the Father has done for us. He's given us boundaries. He's totally spelled it out. If we do that, hey, we're right on. We're going to be blessed. And if we don't, he tells us up front everything. I just think that is, you know, he just lays it all out there and he gives us those boundaries. And I just think so my bottom line is how comforting that is. It's a comforting thing to know where you're at.
Hallelujah. Let's look at this cursing a little bit. We'll go to Deuteronomy 27:26, and then we're going to jump back into the New Testament, okay? Deuteronomy 27:26. Cursed be he that confirmeth not all the words of this law to do them, and all the people shall say amen. Okay. Our forefathers made that covenant, right? If we're entering into these covenants. Let's go to Matthew 25:41. What brings the curse on us? Not keeping the law, right?
Yes.
Or falling under the curses of the law. So you have to have law if you're going to have these curses, right? Then he shall say to them on their left hand, depart from me, you cursed, into everlasting fire, depart from the devils and the angels. For I was hungry and you gave me not food. I was thirsty and... But the cursing here is not keeping the law. Or not performing the law. Not having performance in the law. Not feeding the hungry, not taking care of the widow, the orphan, the fatherless, not doing the things they're not, visiting the sick, or visiting the prisoners, or doing those things. That's the performance that they're not doing. They're part of the law that brings the curse upon them. Performing the law. Where did we stop? In 21? Deuteronomy 29, 21.
Yeah.
And Yahweh shall separate him unto evil out of all the tribes of Israel, according to all the curses of the covenant that are written in the book of the law, so that the generations to come of your children that shall raise up after you, and the stranger that shall come from a far land, shall say, when they see the plagues of that land and the sickness which Yahweh laid upon it, and the whole of the land therefore is brimstone and salt and burning, that it is not sown, nor beareth any grass, or groweth therein, like the overthrow of Sodom and Gomorrah, Adama and Zebulun, which Yahweh overthrew in his anger and in his wrath. Even all the nations shall say, whereof hath Yahweh done this unto this land, what meaneth the heart of this great anger. And the men shall say, because they have forsaken the covenant of Yahweh their Elohim, of their fathers, which he made with them when he brought them forth out of the land of Egypt. Do you think there's going to be penalty for us when that happens to us? That there's going to be penalty that's going to fall upon us. I want to look at Exodus 24:1. Exodus 24:1. I'm going to read down through 8. He said, Moses, come up unto Yahweh, Aaron, Nadab, Abihu, and the 70 of the elders, and worship ye afar. And Moses alone shall come near, and Yahweh, but they shall not come up nigh, neither shall the people go up with him. And Moses came and told the people all the words of Yahweh, and all the judgments, and all the people answered with one voice, and said, all the words which Yahweh had said, we will do. Well, hey, we don't care what he says, he's Yahweh, we're going to do it. Whatever. And Moses wrote all the works of Yahweh, rising up early in the morning, and building an altar under the hill, 12 pillars according to the 12 tribes of Israel. And he sent a young man of the children of Israel, which offered burnt offerings and sacrifices, peace offerings and oxen unto Yahweh. And Moses took half of the blood, put it in a basin, and half of the blood he sprinkled on the altar. And he took the blood of the covenant and read it in the audience of the people. And they said, all that Yahweh hath said, we will do and be obedient. And Moses took the blood and sprinkled it on the people and said, behold, the blood of the covenant which Yahweh hath made with you concerning all these words. That covenant was sealed with blood, wasn't it?
Yes.
We're going to go to Hebrews 9:18. Hebrews 9:18. The covenant was sealed. Hebrews 9:18. Whereupon neither the first testament was dedicated without blood. That's the one we just read about, isn't it? The one that was dedicated without blood. For when Moses spake of even the precepts of all the people according to the law, he took the blood of calves, of goats, of water, of scarlet, of wool, hyssop, and sprinkled both the book and the people, saying, this is the blood of the testament which Yahweh has enjoined unto you. Moreover, he sprinkled with blood both the tabernacle and all the vessels of ministry, and almost all things of the law are purged with blood, for without the shedding of blood there is no remission of sin. He's quoting that very passage of that covenant. The only thing that changed in this administration from that administration was that our sins were blotted out and that Yeshua went into the Holy of Holies and took away the curses that was written in that. He didn't take the law away. He didn't take the precepts away. He didn't take the covenant away. What he did is merely added his portion that covered our sins, just as that old blood was a picture of his covering in the Old Testament, his blood in the New Testament took it away. That's all it did. It restored us before Yahweh, so that now we can come before the Father in the covenant. That's so that the law can be written in our hearts. Go to Hebrews 8, and we'll read 7 through 12 here. Hebrews 8, 7 through 12. For if the first covenant had been faultless, then there should be no place thought for a second. For finding fault with them, he said, Behold, the days come, said Yahweh, and I'll make a new covenant with the house of Israel and the house of Judah. Who did he find fault with? The covenant? The people. The people couldn't keep, the people did not fulfill the covenant. So it was with the people that the fault was with, not the covenant. Not according to the covenant that I made with their fathers in the day when I took them by the hand and led them out of the land of Egypt, because they continued not in my covenant, and I regarded them not, saith Yahweh. For this is the covenant that I will make with the house of Israel after those days, saith Yahweh. I will put whose law?
My law.
And where do we find that law? I will put my law into their minds and write it on their hearts, and I will be to them and Elohim, and they shall be a people. He's going to put the law here. He's going to cut the flesh away from this heart. What is the flesh? Do we follow the flesh, or do we follow the Spirit? If he cuts the flesh from the heart, then my heart's not going to follow those fleshly desires, it's going to follow his desires. And that's what he wants to do. He wants to bring us into covenant. Write that law in our heart. Take that flesh away from our heart so that we can follow him in truth and in justice in all the things that he has for us. And I guess I'll end there. He's quoting Jeremiah 31:31 there. Let's go to Jeremiah 31:31 where it says.
That was in this morning's teaching too.
Yeah, it's a good passage, isn't it? Wonderful passage. So it's a prophecy that was quoted there in Hebrews 8. When is he going to write our law in our hearts? Behold, the days come, saith Yahweh, that I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel and the house of Judah, not according to the covenant that I made with their fathers in the day that I took them by the hand, bringing them out of the land of Egypt, which my covenant they broke, although I was a husband unto them, saith Yahweh. But this shall be the covenant that I will make with the house of Israel after those days, saith Yahweh. I will put my law in their inward parts, and I will write it in their hearts. I will be their Elohim, and they shall be my people. And they shall no more, they shall teach no more every man his neighbor, and every man his brother, saying, Know ye Yahweh. For they shall all know me, from the least of them unto the greatest of them, saith Yahweh. For I will forgive their iniquity, and I will remember their sins no more. He's going to cast them sins away. Go ahead, Nick.
This is more of a question. When you talk about being in covenant with him and keeping his commandments and feeding the hungry, clothing the poor, but is it not all of the 613 commandments found in Torah, at least those that pertain to us, that if you don't know what those laws, I like the word law, I don't have a problem with it. You don't know what those laws are, then you don't know that you're breaking a law in his covenant, so you need to study the whole 613 or those that pertain to you.
I think if you're doing it in, if you're sinning in ignorance, you have a little wiggle room. But if you're sinning with knowledge, you got problems, bigger problems.
But if we want to be in covenant with him and we want to know what sin is, we would need to know what those laws are.
I believe if you're in covenant with him and you want to stay in good graces with him, you will study and move forward in that covenant. And I think as a child grows in maturity and growth and everything, we walk that same kind of walk to progress as we go through our spiritual life. And hopefully, like I say, I believe that we should be a family helping one another along that road. We are a dysfunctional family, to say the least. You know, the parents are fighting at the table and the kids are crying. And Yahweh's not happy with the way we are conducting ourselves until we actually come to a unity where we are helping each other along that to grow and pushing one another up instead of pushing each other down. Yahweh's not happy with the way it's going. I think that we should. Rick?
To answer Dan, when we sin in ignorance, I believe that the Holy Spirit is put upon us to convict us. It's that still small voice in the back of your head that lets you know, hey, you're not right. You know, given that, yes, we should start studying the Word.
I agree with that, but yes, because if he says, I'll make a covenant with you, if you will do these things, I will be your God and you will be my people. And if you come out of the church because you want to be in covenant, pleasing to him, learning that sin is transgression of the law, but you're not studying the law, then you would hate to be tripped up over buying a suit mixed with wool and linen.
Yeah, right.
I mean, it could be that simple. So it's just so much more to follow the full 613 than it is just to say we do need to feed the poor. We do, feed the hungry and love the poor. I agree 100%. That's where the love of the Spirit comes in too. But if you're not following His commandments, then how is He your God? Just saying.
Study to show thyself.
Let's let Rick answer.
Where do you get one of them tours at, Al?
Where do you get one?
One of them tours. Where do you get one of them tours at?
One of them Torahs?
Yeah, where do you get them at?
Go to the Bible bookstore and tell them you want a Bible and read the first 5 books.
Okay, for everybody.
Yeah, the Torah is the first 5 books of the Bible. The Torah is...
For years, everybody thinks that's a different book. They just
Yeah,
go about like
it's
this.
Genesis.
It ain't the Quran, guys.
The Torah is Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy.
There you go.
That is the Torah. Yeah, and in Greek, it's the Pentateuch. If you want it in Greek, it's the Pentateuch or
The 613 commandments are any of those like rabbinical, or they're all supposed to work? I mean, I know some of them just apply to like the priests, and there's different sections, but are any of them rabbinical, or are they all
They're rabbinical. You want to take them down?
Okay, some of them are a stretch, but when I first came into this, I went to a website called Judaism 101. In the top right corner, there's a link you can click on. It says the 613 mitzvot. Does it not only breaks them down where you can look up every one of them, but it categorizes them. For those, we were just talking about this in the kitchen, for those who are the priests, for men, for women, how to do fair trade, how to live your life, it's all categorized. So when you look at a woman, we have less than men, by the way. We only have like 35 that apply to us, the general ones as well as women. So most of them apply to the priest in the temple. Of course, we still believe you should pray at 9 and 3, but the priest in the temple or what the men or how does So I do not believe they're rabbinical. I just think some of them are a stretch, but they all come and you can reference all of them according to the scripture.
You can also match print.
You can what?
Match print.
Oh, yeah, and it's about 100 pages long, but yes.
Any other questions? Well, I guess that's a pretty good place to stop. Let's all return to Yahweh. I think we've all had a glimpse. If not, we're in covenant. I hope you come and join us today and come into covenant with Yahweh. Hopefully through faith. And we will, at 5:30, go to the lake and jump in the water.
And if this is your first time, the elders need to lay their hands on and pray for you.
If it's your first time and you want the elders to pray for you, we'll pray for you. If it's not your first time and you want the elders to pray for you, we'll pray for you. If anyone wishes to be baptized and would like a certificate, a baptismal certificate, let me know and I will print you one. Anyway. Yeah, I'll print you one, Dan. If you want to baptize, give me the name you want on it. I'll print you a baptismal. Hallelujah. Okay. Say the blessing. Yahweh to Yahweh by each Mereka. Yeah, Yahweh, from all the lack of these and Hi, Yahweh, from all the lack of these things. May Yahweh bless you and keep you. May Yahweh make his face shine upon you and be gracious. May Yahweh lift his countenance